welcome to the BetMoorSports podcast. I'm your host, Avery Fuller, sitting here once again with my main man in the building, Stephen Sharpman Bay, a.k.a.
The Guru.
It's the Guru in the house. We definitely got a lot of information to come to you with today with the BetMoorSports podcast. So, just so that we're clear, don't forget to visit www.betmoorsports.com. Also, visit BetMoorSports and Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, every possible social media platform. Go to it, follow us, YouTube, check us out, all that good shit, all in one. Boom. And with that said, let's transition. First and foremost, the very first thing we're going to talk about today is NFL-wise. And I always like to start with the NFL because the NFL tends to have a significant amount of information. And one of the key elements of the NFL today is the overtime rule change. So from what I can see, they are changing the rule in the overtime game in the playoffs as a result of the Buffalo Bills playing the Chiefs in the playoffs this year. And it was such a great game that everybody felt like the Bills should have had the opportunity to pretty much go back at the Chiefs. Guru, what you think about that rule change and what is it doing right now for the league?
I hate it, personally, because the defense get paid just as well as the offense. So I feel like if you got 11 on defense that get paid just as well as the 11 on offense, they should be able to get a stop to get the ball back for the offense. If you paid attention to the game the following week, the Bengals was in an overtime situation with the same Chiefs, and they got a stop and got the ball back for their quarterback, and they went on and won the game and went to the Super Bowl. So I hate it.
It's crazy because you would think that people are asking for opportunities when the goal is to earn it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You want them to give it to you, but earn it. Like, that's why defense get paid. That's why offense get paid.
But it's an offense-driven league, so they try to cater to the offense, man, which is kind of destroying the game of football, in my opinion.
Right, and then it's even stranger because they made this change for the playoffs only.
Correct.
For which in the playoffs there are no ties.
Right.
So if a game go to 10 overtimes, it just go to 10 overtimes in football.
And that's the way it look.
Like that's so, what's the word? Unnecessary.
Right.
Because
like if you score and I score, then what if don't nobody else score?
Right. Exactly. So y'all
for the
just
rest of the
keep
game.
Going. It's like, come on, man. I don't understand it. Especially with it's like a contradiction where you're trying to protect the players, but you're trying to make them play longer.
Exactly. Especially when you already expanded the playoffs and the teams in the playoffs. Now you got Monday night playoff games and Sunday night playoff games. So right now it's just it doesn't make sense to me. It's
whatever. All I know is it's one of those things where we'll see what happens. They're gonna probably do this like they did the
pass interference rule.
Yep.
Right. Sooner or later they're gonna take it down and say, hey man, this don't work. Yep. Let's get rid of it.
Just trying something new. So I don't know. I just, man, I the players get it. So as long as the players get it,
but I don't think they get it.
Well, I mean,
because the coaches didn't even want it, and the owners are the ones who voted for it. The majority of the coaches didn't want it. I think only 2 coaches presented it to the league, and that was the Eagles and the Colts.
But let me ask you this: do you think the owners should have as much leeway as they have as far as the rules of the game?
No, because a lot of them ain't played a down of football in their life.
That's why it's so awkward to kind of see that they are deciding how long these players stay on the field, and they're doing all of this CTE research and things of that nature, and but they're not considering that. They're only considering the money. If it's between the money and their brains, the money gonna come first, and that's a sad thing.
And that's why I feel like the owners should be left out of decision making, because their main concern is the business.
Right.
It's not the player. It's not the coaches. It's not the team. It's the business. It's about what can I do to put a brand on the field that's going to net me the most money.
Absolutely. I agree 100%. That is sad.
Keep the owners out your decision making, man.
Right. Especially, they should have a rule. If you ain't ever played, You definitely shouldn't be in this conversation.
Jerry Jones, that man, you sit down and shut your mouth now because you ain't played a snap
Jerry Jones
of
sucks.
nothing.
Sorry about
to
that,
my
Cowboys
recollection.
fans. All right, so this off season has been pretty significant. It's probably the best off season that I've seen in my lifetime.
Busy.
It's been extremely busy. It's been so many big names moved that you don't even know which big name is the best big name that's been moved. But we're going to ask the question anyway. So based on everything that's been taking place, what do you think is the best free agent signing? Not even free agent signing, but the best move this offseason.
Too many to tell, actually. It's definitely, I would probably put the Russell Wilson at the top, in my opinion, because of what it does for that particular team.
Right.
That was already strong defensively, that already had a sound run game, and that was just really a quarterback away, so it does more for them than I feel like a Devontae Adams to the Raiders or a Cheetah to the Dolphins. It kind of, that quarterback is a position that you don't find a dime a dozen. Like good wide receivers you can find, good running backs you can find. You don't find great left tackles, and you don't find great quarterbacks. And Russell Wilson is right there as being a great quarterback.
Right. I feel like it's the same. Russell Wilson, because of his role, it's kind of like hiring a manager for your team. You know what I'm saying? That's the most crucial position that you're going to hire for. And once you get that position filled, then you build around it. You know what I'm saying? But I feel like the Broncos was already a good team as is. They was literally just missing a quarterback.
And now you got a really good quarterback, with a lot of really good football left.
And a quarterback that had a limited line majority of his career. So, if you got blockers for him, he'll only be greater than what he's been.
I'm excited, man, to kind of see what the Broncos going to look like. I'm excited to see what the whole AFC West is going to look like.
That's going to be really interesting. I'm interested to see Madden personally.
So I always talking about Madden.
Of course. So with every great signing is always a bad signing. So let's flip it. What's the worst off-season signing?
That's a toss-up. You really can't say that the signing of Matt Ryan was a bad signing.
It was good for Matt.
We'll have to see. I think the Commanders signing Carson Wentz. Because we don't know. Like, Carson Wentz looked promising in Philly one year, looked bad the rest of the years. Looked promising at the beginning in Indianapolis. When it counted, he looked bad again. So it's like
consistency is through the roof.
That to me right there is the signing that is the most questionable, because we don't really know if he's really better than the Heineken man, the Tyler Heineken.
It's crazy because Tyler Heineken can be a really good football player.
Right.
Like, honestly, I think Tyler Heineke's probably going to be better than him. Better than Carson Wentz. Even though Carson Wentz got history, not with the Commanders, but he got history as far as him playing well.
Right.
But I feel like Tyler Heineke, he's a better fit. You give him some blocking, my man will be good.
And it's been his system, and he's one of those scrappy quarterbacks that really has something to prove.
Yep.
Whereas Carson Wentz came in with high expectations, and he's playing below his expectations, while Tyler Heineke is playing above his expectations because nobody expected him to be anything.
Right. And Carson Wentz has consistently digressed throughout his career. The moment he tore that ACL when he was with the Eagles, I don't think he's been the same since.
You keep cashing them checks, though, so.
Of course.
As long as you keep cashing them checks, man, whatever works.
I would. Well, I'm going to tell you what I think the worst offseason signing was. To me, it was the Cleveland Browns signing Deshaun Watson. And the reason why is because they guaranteed him $230 million. He has not played in a whole year. And while his track record is significant with the Texans, He hasn't won much.
28 and 25.
You know what I'm saying? And I don't feel like that he at this stage was worth it. But I guess when you're desperate, you desperate, and they're desperate.
Well, in that case, Amari Cooper wasn't a great signing.
Well, they gave away peanuts and popcorn for him. So, you know, when you think about it, I mean, I don't know if he worth the $25 million they're gonna pay him, but when you think about it, for what you can get him for, it's like I don't even got to go through that hassle. I give you about some 4th round picks, 5th round picks, and we good. Who wouldn't take that? That got the cap for it.
I agree. Now, the Deshaun Watson, now that you mention it, it really, to me, wasn't the greatest of investments from a business standpoint because you don't know what he can bring this season.
Right.
It's a suspension still looming. And like I say, he's only 28 and 25 as a starting quarterback. I just think the Browns wanted to make a splash.
Yeah.
You know, they wanted to make a splash, and they were sick of Baker Mayfield shit.
They damn sure made
totally
the splash.
sick of him, and they was like, man, let's make a splash. I think they overpaid. But like I always say, and you will always hear me say, if you could get some money that I don't feel like you deserve, but the owners feel like you deserve it, man, get your money.
Get your money.
I don't never hate on nobody getting money, man. I want to see everybody get money. So Deshaun Watson, you stole one, boy. You got to prove to the people that
He sure enough stole one.
you worth that $230, man.
Let me ask you this: what do you think the expectation is for Deshaun Watson?
If he don't win a Super Bowl in Cleveland, man, he is a bust for that $230.
But how can they expect him to do that if he ain't never been? He ain't never did it. He ain't
If
never
I
came
give
close
you
to doing it.
$230 million guaranteed, I don't give a damn what you used to do. I expect you to win the Lombardi.
They knew what they got when they signed it.
But that wouldn't be your expectation. If you get a man $230 million, what are you expecting?
Right. I mean, I wouldn't give him $230 million, but you know, the expectation. Tom Brady, I'll give him $230 million.
Right.
Even at this stage, if he decided to stay for 3 more years, Tom, you got whatever you need, because he's proven himself. He's meet expectations all the way around the board, damn near every year. But Deshaun Watson, I can't say he has met expectations. He's exceeded expectations according to how he was drafted.
Right.
I don't think anybody expected him to be as good as he is, except for what's the coach name in Clemson?
Dabo Swinney.
Yeah, he said he the Michael Jordan of football. So I respect that. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. It's no way.
I wonder what guys like Drew Brees sitting at home seeing this man get 230 and they saying to themselves, I said, goddamn, baby, can you dust off my helmet and give him a cleat?
Straight up.
They giving away money. They giving away money in this offseason, man.
They don't value nothing. It's so strange. It's so strange. So, okay, so while we had a ton of signings, there's been so many people signed. The question now is, who do we think is the best free agent that's out there now? It's a ton. I'm gonna go down a list just so that you kind of got an idea of who's there. And I'm gonna speak in regards to both sides of the ball, but still unsigned. We got Bobby Wagner, Stephon Gilmore, Odell Beckham Jr., Tyrann Mathieu, Julio Jones, Jadeveon Clowney, Calais Campbell, really? J.C. Treader, Jarvis Landry, Melvin Gordon, and Dwayne Brown. There's so many people that hasn't been signed yet. So out of that list, who do you think is probably the most valuable?
If you can get Stephon Gilmore or the Honey Badger and they're healthy, and Bobby Wagner too, because like I said, a lot of these positions that you name are kind of easy to find. Like either in the draft or free agency, it's not really hard to build up these players, but to get a solid linebacker, man, that's been consistent for as long as Bobby Wagner has been consistent, to get a lockdown defensive back like Stephon Gilmore, to get a Honey Badger who kind of is going to be the quarterback of your defense, then to me, signing those guys to a contender would be more intricate than a Odell Beckham or Julio Jones. You on your last leg, boy.
Yeah.
It's about you one poor hamstring away from sitting right here on the BetMoorSports podcast as the co-host.
He's definitely welcome. Not as the co-host, but he's welcome.
The co-host to the co-host.
Yeah. I feel like what you said is right. Like Bobby Wagner and players like the Honey Badgers, they're more quarterbacks on defense, so their value is significant. Again, Odell, Jarvis, Landry, they receivers, they great at what they do, but I feel like it's teams out there that don't need them.
Right.
So out of all the unsigned that I actually named, I think the most valuable is going to be the Honey Badger. I think the best fit for him is San Francisco. And
of course you would say that. But
we
we just let Jabril Peppers go to New England, man, so we in need of a safety at that position. So, the Honey Badger and that Big Blue would be a good look.
In that Big Blue. I just know we need, if we fill that spot, like if we got the Honey Badger in San Francisco at that safety spot, we'll be in a really good position. Like a really good position.
Y'all already got a solid defense.
Yeah, exactly. But again, safety is not our strong point.
Right.
We get a strong safety. No pun intended.
You might need to shed a few pounds, man, and get back out there the way they're giving out money, man, and try your shot at the strong safety position.
I do it. I do it. Just call me. You know what I'm saying? Let me know what I need to do. I'm there. Straight up. 2-year deal. $200 million. I'm good.
They're getting it away now. You better take it while you can take it.
As much as I can. So, but with that said, hey, we'll be back. Check with us in a minute. BetMoorSports. Peace. Welcome back to the BetMoorSports podcast. We are live again, coming from the BetMoorSports studios in Norfolk, Virginia. I'm sitting here. I'm Avery Fuller, the host, sitting here with my co-host, Stephen Troutman Bay, a.k.a. once again,
The Guru.
We in here. So let's get some NBA talk going on. NBA, we in here. So the Lakers is some shit.
Pretty much.
It's some sad stuff. What we on? I'm a Laker fan, by the way, and we are on we're in 11th place.
Now 100-game losing streak.
It's the saddest shit I ever encountered in my life. Like, I don't understand why we playing so bad. What you think our problem is in general?
Y'all trash.
So if you was in the front office or if you was the coach, what changes would you make to improve what we got going on?
I know last night I caught the Lakers, right?
Mm-hmm.
And live bet them. Plus 24. And when I tell you they made me sweat every second of the game, man, I'm talking about, plus 24. Can you imagine live betting the Los Angeles Lakers plus 24 and you have to sweat it to the last minute? Man, the people went down 33 points. I almost broke every TV.
Oh, my gosh.
In the BetMoorSports podcast studio. But if I was in management, I would kind of try to move on first and foremost from Anthony Davis.
Okay.
I think he right now he is injury prone, but he still holds trade value.
I think Anthony Davis' skill set don't match his body size. And that's a big reason why he's injured so often. Like, he was a guard at one point in his career, and then he just got taller. And so he's trying to play a move guardish, but I don't think when you're that big or you wear a size 17 shoe that you're meant to move or run in that sense. Or jump the way he jumped.
Or bang with them big bodies that he bang with on a daily basis.
And
so I think moving on from him would probably be more beneficial because it will bring you something in return.
Right.
LeBron James, I think he's going to kind of finish out his career in L.A., but if you can move on from LeBron, that would be a huge move. I think the Lakers need to scrap, to be honest, the whole team.
Just start fresh.
Start over.
I would trade LeBron. And the reason why I would trade LeBron because I could get an upper echelon player for the future.
Right.
LeBron is about to go. That's like if I was Tampa Bay, I would trade Tom Brady to get assets because it's about the future now. It's not about right now. You can have a win right now mentality, but the Bucks, they already won. Like,
right.
Now it's
The
about
Lakers won one with LeBron and AD.
yeah. So I would definitely try to find a way to get LeBron somewhere and get some resources back for him. Same thing with Anthony Davis. In a way, I know it's gonna sound real weird when I say it, but I would probably keep Russell Westbrook.
And it do sound weird, but I was kind of leaning towards if I was handing the keys to anybody in LA, it would probably be Russell Westbrook.
Yep.
I ain't call you Russell Westbrook, man. I seen you ready to whoop the people on TV, man, for calling you Russell Westbrook. I'm going to respect your name, man, even though you putting up a ton of bricks. I'm going to still respect your name and call you Westbrook. Even though you're shooting bricks, I'm going to call you Brook.
Yeah,
But, yeah, man, he would be the best, to me, player to build the Lakers around because it's a little easier to build around Westbrook, in my opinion, than AD and LeBron simply because AD can't stay healthy. LeBron is up in age, man. He's in his 19th, 20th season.
Yeah.
He got a lot of gas left in the tank, but he still hasn't managed the ability to play off the ball, which kind of is killing the morale of the Lakers.
Yep.
So if I could, and he's going to bring more value than Westbrook, right? Westbrook, he has no trade value at this point.
Right.
LeBron and AD hold the most value, so you can get the most pieces to put around Westbrook than you can by moving on from Westbrook and trying to build a team around. Because you got to scrap the rest of the pieces, like the Kendrick Nuns, the Carmelo Anthony's, the Trevor Arizas, all that trash has to go like immediately.
It's crazy because the way history has shown, the first thing I would get in the offseason if I was the Lakers is shooters.
As many as you can get.
Literally. Because that's been the biggest downside to every season we've had. Even the one that we won in the bubble, shooters was the downside. We will have streaky shooting events, as I would call it, where players like Kyle Kuzma or what's the white boy name that went to the Bulls? Alex Caruso. They'll have great shooting moments.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But it was so inconsistent that it's hard to tell what's working and what's not. But if you get a pure shooter, a J.J. Redick type player, not J.J. Redick because, of course, we know he on ESPN now. But
so what pure shooters are left in the league that you feel like could help the Lakers that are movable pieces on the teams that they're on?
Well, one is one of them that we should have got in all season to begin with, which is Buddy Hield. You know what I'm saying? He's a spot on shooter. He can shoot that rock.
And Indiana is not using them correctly.
Nope.
So he's gonna waste a few years down there if they choose to bring him back. But outside of Buddy Hield, it's like, could you make a play for a Duncan Robinson or somebody like that?
Absolutely, and that's
Tyler Hero or somebody like that.
That's one of them plays that I would, work towards. Like, you know what I'm saying? Even if it means, hey, let's put a trade package that's gonna get him. I ain't even gonna lie. I would probably take Anthony Davis and put him in a trade package and get Duncan Robinson and goddamn
Tyler
Hero.
I am not going for that.
They gotta keep one of the white boys. I just know something got to give. So, with that said, do you think the Lakers should sit LeBron at this point?
I kind of see him already leaning in that direction.
Yeah. All it takes is one injury.
They done fail out the play-in game. So, what, they sitting in the 11th?
Yep. 11, we tied with the Spurs.
And what, they got the hardest or the second hardest remaining schedule in the NBA?
The hardest, yep.
Yeah, go and shut him down, man. I think right now he's pretty much just trying to be the leading scorer in the league.
Right. I got you.
He's more concerned right now with averaging 30 and being the oldest player in the history of the NBA to average 30.
Mm-hmm.
So right now he's averaging 30. If you shut him down a day, he accomplished that mission. I think they should shut AD and LeBron down.
Yep. Straight up. It's pointless to have them back in the game right now. Like, I don't understand why, especially even if we get to the play-in game. We're probably going to lose that game, but if we win that game, then we're going to go on to face who?
Or Phoenix Suns or Memphis Grizzlies or Golden State Warriors or somebody like that.
And
Well,
then,
more than likely to be either Phoenix or Memphis, the way they're playing right now. But as a Laker fan and as a Laker historian and as the Lakers organization, is that something that the Lakers organization would do, is like shut down and say we concede this season?
it shouldn't be.
It don't sound like something a Laker franchise would do.
I just think from a situational standpoint, LeBron is up in age.
Right.
Anthony Davis is as fragile as any player can possibly be. And it's nothing to really gain from them playing right now. Don't get me wrong, if it was possible where we had a chance where we could make a run, but we have yet to show that we can make a run this entire season. And we've shown that every change that we made in the offseason did not help us at all.
Well,
we
you
literally
can't stop
got worse.
nobody defensively.
Exactly.
So it's like these young boys just running right by.
Because they playing a bunch of old when you playing a bunch of old ass men, you know.
They done brought Uncle Drew to the NBA. The moving Uncle Drew team they done brought to the NBA and expected to compete with a young team like Memphis.
And you know, people were saying that before, where they were saying like, "Yo, we old," and I promise you, I had it in my head that we old, but we got experience.
LeBron said, "Keep that same energy. Everybody calling us old. Keep that same." Hey, LeBron, we got the same energy, man. Y'all is old.
Ain't shit changed.
People is running circles around the Lakers defensively, man.
I have never seen LeBron look like ain't nothing he can do. And right now, he look like, you know what, ain't nothing I can do, so I'm going to just score as much as I can and have y'all talking about me in some way. You might not be you might talk about us that we lost, but you're going to say, but I won the scoring.
And he scored 38. You know I had 40, right?
Mm.
You know we lost by 40, but I had 40.
That's
18 rebounds and 9 assists.
That's what's going to dilute his legacy, in my opinion.
What's that?
The fact that he only care about himself right now. You know, he spent the career caring about other people, and now when it count, he don't give a shit no more. He's just like, whatever, as long as I get mine, I'm good. I
think he kind of frustrated. He kind of see the writing on the wall as far as this team, and I think he's looking at the team as a whole and realize that we can't win. I might as well do something.
All right, but he can only be frustrated with himself because he facilitated a lot of this, right?
He's the GM.
It's a sad thing, but it is what it is. I don't expect anything from the Lakers the rest of this season. Probably not even next season or the year after that.
So if they get healthy, you don't feel like they can make a run from the 10th seed to the title?
Not at all.
Well, at least you're honest, man, because me neither.
I have no confidence whatsoever right now. Like, I have not watched a game and felt like we was going to win that game at halftime. Every game that we came close to winning, I felt like we would win when there's 10 seconds left and we up by 8. Do
you still play with the Lakers on 2K?
I do. But that's just because I know them. You know what I'm saying? I know those players. And I'm still a beast in it, so feel free, leave a comment if you want some of this 2K work, because I do provide that on the PS5 for anybody that want it. FYI.
Don't embarrass BetMoorSports, man. If you get up there and you're losing, man, tell them your internet lagged out and you had to come shoot a podcast or something. But don't sit there and let the people embarrass BetMoorSports on 2K.
No excuses. No excuses whatsoever.
Please don't play with the Lakers.
Oh, hell no. So, the West is significant, right? But, well, let me rephrase that. The East is pretty significant now. I feel like the East is probably better than the West.
From top to bottom.
However, on the West side, the Memphis Grizzlies is playing like some true NBA champions, and it's just weird. It's so many different catch-22s in that process. So Ja Morant is playing MVP basketball.
Not
Right.
quite, but
Well,
on that level.
MVP-ish.
Right, he's in the conversation.
Right. But his team is better without him.
I wouldn't say they're better without him.
When you 18-2 without somebody playing, that's a sign that they're better without him.
But it's kind of like the same when he's in the lineup and Dylan Brooks isn't in the lineup. It's kind of like the same.
Similar, right.
So the question is, how do they fit Dylan Brooks and Ja Morant back together in time for the playoffs? Because when Ja sits, they win and they blowing people out. When Dylan Brooks sits, they winning and they blowing people out.
Mm-hmm.
When they play together, this year they have struggled on the court together.
To me, that just says somebody got to go. like somebody got to go. Right now, they are two good assets, but it just seemed like when one player is down, the next man up mentality is so significant in Memphis that they are better when the next man is up as opposed to the original starters.
Just them two.
Right. Ja is the most exciting player in the league, period.
He's the,
right now.
the star of the show.
It's just when your team is just such a good team without you, that says a lot about that team. But then it make you ask questions like, if we in the playoffs and we're in a 5-game series and we down 0-2 and Ja play both of them games, should I sit him down? And you know what I'm saying?
Hell no. You ain't gonna never sit Ja Morant in the playoffs. Just like you're not going to sit Dylan Brooks in the playoffs. So I think it's important that they figure out how to get them both on the court at the same time, healthy as the season comes down the stretch. Because I don't feel like no team wants to see Memphis in a 7-game series.
Right. I know I have damn sure wouldn't.
Because they match up well with everybody, and they got young people who believe they can win.
Right.
See, it's a difference in having young people that's good, but they have young people that believe that they can beat anybody. And then they have a star in Ja Morant who feels like he's just as good as anybody.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just as good as your best player. That's the mentality that I feel Ja Morant takes the court with every game, night in and night out. And I feel like Dylan Brooks feel the same way, even though he doesn't get the respect that Ja Morant has. He quietly just goes about his work. So you don't see the highlight dunks, or you don't see, but Dylan Brooks locks up defensively. He can score the basketball at will, inside and out. So I don't really see it. Then they got a bunch of young people that just run and jump higher than everybody else.
Yeah.
They running faster, they jumping higher, and they shooting the ball efficiently, like they knocking down jumpers, and then they got a big in the middle like Steven Adams. Like, how do you combat them in 7 games?
I don't know if you can. I almost want to pick them to win it all.
So you see Phoenix and Memphis in the Western Conference Finals, or do you see Golden State getting it together once they're fully healthy?
Well, I've already ruled Golden State out because of the type of injury that Steph Curry got.
Right.
His injury is going to create inconsistency. A lot of his shooting and everything of that nature is based on his footwork.
Right.
A lot of his game is based on movement. And so if his movement is limited, he's going to be limited as a player. So, and with a limited Steph Curry, Golden State, they won't be in that conversation.
I agree. Do you give Utah a chance?
No. Just a flat no. Listen, Utah is the most consistent team in the West.
The most consistently inconsistent team.
Exactly.
They can get you there.
They going to get to the first round every year, but might not get past it.
So they like the guy that can get the girl to go on a date but can't get her in bed.
Exactly. He got blue balls forever. The Jazz is blue balls. Blue ball Jazz. That's what we're going to call them. So, naturally, we compare present players to older players. And 2 players that stand out, Ja Morant and Kyrie Irving, they are constantly compared to AI or Allen Iverson. How do you feel about that? Who do you feel like is closest compared to AI?
Now it's a few players that come from this 757. It's a few athletes. I'm gonna say that it's
Absolutely.
a few athletes that come from this 757 that you can't kind of play with their name. Allen Iverson being top of that list. Michael Vick and Pernell Sweet Whitaker.
Okay.
Rest his soul, man.
Rest in
It's
peace.
them three people that any true Virginian
Mm-hmm.
will argue you down that it's no better basketball player pound for pound than Allen Iverson.
Right.
There was no greater boxer defensively or with his hands than Pernell Sweet Whitaker. And there was no more exciting player than Michael Vick, right? So when it comes to them three players, being that I am a true Virginia born and bred, it's hard to even answer a question like who compares to Allen Iverson. I will say this. Kyrie Irving,
Mm-hmm.
in my years of watching basketball, may be the greatest finisher around the rim that I've ever seen. Right? Ja Morant, he has the excitement of Allen Iverson. Like, he's going to get the oohs and ahs out the crowd. He's more vertical than Chuck was, but he's just as exciting. You know, Chuck had that 757 swag where he wanted to really embarrass you on the basketball court. And I think that that's the kind of style that Ja Morant plays with.
Mm-hmm.
He plays with, if I jump and you jump, I'm going to embarrass you.
Yeah.
Iverson played with that. If you reach, I'm going to teach. Mentality. But Kyrie handles is just as good as Iverson. Some say they're the best in the league
Mm-hmm.
history. Some say they're better than Iverson's. I think Ja Morant, to me, when it's all said and done, he's going to have the accolades and the body of work that Iverson had. But I'm not saying nobody's better than Allen Iverson, man. Not me personally.
Yeah.
I'm not going to do it.
I don't think either one of them is better than AI for sure.
But these young boys argue down about Kyrie now.
Yeah, that's because they don't know no better. That's just like they argue me down about MJ and LeBron. Like, LeBron is never going to be that. Nobody, Kyrie or Ja, is ever going to be that. What AI was.
I don't. So, do you think Ja or Kyrie will ever have as many scoring titles as Iverson? I don't think neither one will never have one.
Right. I don't think either one will ever have a scoring title. They play in the league with KD, Giannis, and players that is going to score.
Stephen Curry.
They score at will.
Right.
And that's not their game. Well, Kyrie, he could probably score at will.
But he's on the team with KD.
Right. And he can be inconsistent.
So I think Ja would stand a better chance being that he's on a team where he can really take over. But Ja ain't the take over, let me score 35 a night. And his team doesn't call for him to be that.
Right.
Allen Iverson was on a team where it called for him to be the scorer.
Right.
You know, so I don't know, man. What do you?
I feel like the way the teams is constructed now, they won't have to carry as much of a load as AI had to carry.
Right.
AI literally put Philly on his back. Every year he was there.
And took him to the finals.
And took him to the finals. You know,
Could Kyrie take a Cleveland team without LeBron to the finals?
No.
Could he take this Brooklyn team without KD to the finals?
No. It's not even close to possible. Like, you don't even have that expectation of him. That's how you know when something isn't as significant. You got the expectation of KD. You got the expectation of Giannis. You even got the expectation of Steph. And, you know, he's a hell of a shooter. But Kyrie, you expect him to come in and fill the gaps where they need to be filled.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Ja, you see him as the leader of his team, but you see his team as an overall juggernaut as a team. You know what I'm saying? Like,
right.
It's not specific to him. They team work as a unit. And again, as you can see, even if he's not there, they're successful. So
can you imagine a young Iverson on either one of these teams in Brooklyn with KD or this Memphis Grizzlies team?
I don't know, because at one point Iverson was a ball hole. My man was shooting
Was he
30.
really though?
he was shooting 35, 40 shots a game.
He had to.
But he had like a 30% shooting percentage.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying? When you're shooting 40 shots and you making 10, you kind of interrupting the flow of the game in a way.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because you're taking away shots that are either that could be a higher percentage shot, or you're just taking away shots from players who can contribute, but they can't because every shot that go up, you done took it. But it's a different game now. So.
Bad news. He say, man, I'm from bad news. Get it off the rim.
Straight up. All right. Thank you. Up next, we got the Final Four. It is down to 4 teams only. 4 teams only in the NCAA tournament. We'll be back after this. Welcome back to the BetMoorSports podcast, where we are live coming out of the BetMoorSports studios in Norfolk, Virginia. We are here once again. So let's get to some NCAA college basketball. Last week, we experienced the Elite Eight in history in the making. St. Peter's actually went head-to-head with UNC. And while we whooped their ass, they were there. And not too many teams that came in as a 15 seed can say that they was there. Share your thoughts on St. Peter's.
Well, actually, there's no other team that
right.
came in as a 15 seed and made it all the way to the Elite Eight, man. Shout out to St. Peter's, man, on a hell of a season. You didn't win the championship, but you exceeded far and beyond the expectations of maybe everybody outside of the people that was in the locker room.
Mm-hmm.
So great job in that regard, man, and great job to Iowa State, a team that won 2 games last season. To win 2 games and to make a tournament run as far as they made, man, is something to talk about.
Yeah.
The Hurricanes, they started off bad and then they kind of picked up. And the ACC put 3 teams in the Elite Eight.
And it's 2 in the
and
Final
2
Four.
teams in the Final Four. And for the first time ever in Final Four history, Duke will play North Carolina. And it's crazy because since Coach K been coaching, this will be the 100th game that North Carolina and Duke played each other.
That's
since
amazing.
He's been coaching, and he's won 50 games and lost 49. So this game will either stamp him as I left on top of North Carolina, or I left even with North Carolina, and they are the team that put me out the tournament and denied me the right to win a championship on my farewell tour.
Yeah. Wow. If UNC beat Duke,
They won't.
ain't nobody expect us to be there. Just so that you know.
I'm going to be honest now. North Carolina has a good team, and they figured it out, right? They figured it out because at one time North Carolina was getting beat by 30 and 40. Like Tennessee beat them like a drum. Kentucky beat them like a drum. And it's like they was losing to teams like Pitt and Wake Forest. And I think that once it finally hit them, that, man, look, we are talented, just as talented as some of the better teams in college basketball. They figured it out, and they put it together just in a nick of time. And I think that them beating Duke in Camden Indoor Stadium in Coach K's last game in Durham was kind of the game that propelled them to this tournament run. Even though they lost to Virginia Tech in the tournament, Virginia Tech ended up winning the tournament, ended up beating North Carolina and Duke. So it was like Virginia Tech caught Virginia Tech at a wrong time, so to speak. Right. So I don't take that away from North Carolina, and I don't take anything away from Virginia Tech. They played great basketball at that time, and they beat North Carolina in the tournament. But I think that win against Duke made those players in the locker room say, hey, we can really play with anybody. because they kind of handed Duke their ass, to be honest, in
yeah.
in Durham. It was not like we back and forth. They kind of handed Duke an ass whooping, and I think Duke remembers. I know Coach K remember.
Absolutely.
You're not gonna beat me twice now. You're not gonna beat me in my last game in Durham, and my last possible game coaching
Ever.
college
Yeah.
basketball
Yeah.
ever. Like, I
That's-
think Coach K literally walk on the court and slap fire out of every
Every play on this
Duke
team.
player. If them people even let North Carolina stick around long enough to pull a game out in the end. So I really, me personally, and this is my opinion and me watching college basketball for 30 some odd years, I don't even see this game being close.
Oh wow, that's a bold statement coming
Now
from the Guru.
I like Duke, but I don't see it being close either way.
Okay,
If
so
North Carolina win, I think they're gonna blow Duke out. If Duke win, I think they're gonna blow North Carolina out. But I don't see North Carolina winning this game, and I don't see the game being decided by less than 10 points.
so what you are insinuating is that whichever team win, the losing team is just gonna play bad.
Not necessarily play bad. I just feel like that once the will of the other team is imposed,
Mm-hmm.
they're gonna surrender to that will.
I can see that.
You don't necessarily have to play bad to be one team just playing more superior than you at that time, right? And the reason why I give Duke the edge is because Duke has the best player in college basketball, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they have the best coach currently in college basketball. Maybe in college basketball history, you're talking John Wood and Coach K.
Yeah, or Dean Smith.
Dean Smith is in the conversation, but he kind of like the dude outside the door. Remember how we used to have house parties back in the day, and they used to say, "Look, we're gonna let y'all drink from the party and eat from the party, but you can't come in the party."
Right. But you know, based on
Dean
our
Smith
history,
kind of like,
when we don't let them in the party, they break the windows or bust the window out.
and do you see how that turned out?
Hey, exactly.
That's kind of how it's going.
Uh,
That ain't turned out well.
I do want to give a shout out to Clarence Rupert on the St. Peter squad. He actually went to Morey High School in Norfolk.
Shout out,
And,
man. 757 putting out athletes.
Absolutely, he doing this thing. Shout out to the St. Peter's team too, because they was able to successfully get their coach a new job at Seton Hall, and pretty much change his life. So that's substantial, and I
That's
wouldn't blame
major.
them if those players decided I'm going to Seton Hall.
But how many of those players are really Seton Hall caliber players?
Well, at this point, all of them, because
Where
where was Seton Hall and where were they?
But see, that's a difference. The difference is, in a tournament, you can get hot and make a run. But do you think for a minute a St. Peter's team that lost 11 games in their current conference could go compete in the old Big East? I mean, the Big East?
Well, at the level at which they were playing, at the level at which they were defending, at the level at which they were able to dictate those games that they did win. I think the only game they did not even come close to dictating was the Carolina game.
Right.
But the way that they did it, the way their mentality was, they weren't rattled. They weren't nervous. They didn't show any signs of it if they were.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So that made me feel like that these are men of steel. They built for it.
But for a whole season, it's easy. I mean, I'm now don't get me wrong, it's not easy
Right.
to be built for it in the tournament, but you could prepare a little better
Right.
for the tournament than you can prepare for a grind out, full-fledged D1 schedule.
Well, think about it too. Don't you think Seton Hall is going to have more resources than St. Peter's?
Yes, that's why I say I don't think that every St. Peter's player could just say, hey, coach gone, we gone. I think that he's going to get over there and he's going to recruit the top D1 players that Seton Hall can recruit.
Right.
I think when it came down to it, St. Peter's was kind of smallish inside. They didn't
Yep.
have the big bodies that you're going to be able to recruit
That's what
in the Big
Carolina
East.
showed.
So
for sure.
once you get to the Big East and now you say, all right, I'm the big dog on campus, I can recruit players of different stature. I can recruit players of different skill sets. I don't have to get what most people feel like the leftover, so to speak.
Okay.
I can compete with anybody when it comes to recruiting at Seton Hall because Seton Hall has a rich history.
Okay. Well, let's not forget Kansas and Villanova is in the Final Four too. And I'm gonna be honest, Kansas played a hell of a game.
They did.
Like, they deserve to be where they are.
It was great games in the first day of the Elite Eight. What, it was Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
Sunday was like, man, what the hell is
Yeah.
we watching? Everybody's just getting blowed out.
Every game was close on Thursday and Friday, and then every game was almost a blowout on the weekend. So
Right.
the moment they got to the Elite Eight, it's like the teams that lost said, "All right, well, we here, we good. Let's keep it moving."
We did good enough now. Can we go home now?
Right, exactly. You
Yeah.
know,
So
only the strong survive. So
I think Kansas definitely showed that they belong. And Kansas kind of belonged the whole season. They the only remaining number one seed.
mm-hmm.
However, they was the most quiet number one seed. Like when the tournament started,
Absolutely.
nobody was talking about Kansas outside of Kansas.
Absolutely.
Like nobody's. It was the Gonzagas. It was the Auburns. It was the, everybody besides Baylor. Well, really, I knew Baylor didn't have a chance to make the Final Four. But even teams like Purdue and even teams like Arizona was one of my favorites to get to the finals. I didn't have them winning, but Arizona was like one of the most dominant basketball teams all season long, and Kansas kind of flew under the radar, and they kind of caught everybody they needed to catch at the time that they needed to catch them, and they say, hey, we Kansas, remember, y'all forgot about us. We're number one seed too, and we can play with everybody. And our coach over there ain't no slouch himself. Like Bill Self ain't his resume holds up.
Right.
So, I mean, they got the pieces in place. They got the point guard, Remy Martin, man. He was the Big 12 preseason player of the year, and he's starting to play like it, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
I think that game between them and Villanova kind of will come down to which style of basketball dictates the game. Because if Villanova dictate their game, which is to slow the ball down, play defense, bang you around, I think Villanova could steal the game even though they had a significant injury in the Elite Eight, right? I think that they could stick around and kind of dictate the style of basketball that they want to play and possibly pull off the upset against Kansas. I don't see it happening, but if things go the way that I believe that they will go, I believe that the easiest road for Coach K to win the national championship, barring he beats North Carolina, is to face Villanova with that injury, right? I don't feel like it's going to be an easy game against Kansas. So if it goes the way, and I think that, man, the people is just trying to gift wrap the championship for Coach K, personally. So we'll see. A lot of people say the game is played between the white lines. I believe sometimes the game is played on the blackboard in the casino.
Yep. It's almost a conspiracy when you really think about it.
Exactly, especially the way they release some of these lines, man. When you see these lines, you be like, how in the hell did they come up with this line for this particular game? Like, who? They trying to trick me.
Yep. And they throw you off your shit, and you try to figure out, why didn't I pick that?
Exactly. You be looking like a damn fool because you see the trick right in front of your face. So,
with all of that said, then let's get down to the meat and potatoes of the meal. Who you got? Starting with Duke and Carolina.
Duke Blue Devils.
Duke Blue Devils. I got, of course, my UNC Tar Heels.
I understand, man. Sometimes, man, you got to put your feelings to the side.
It ain't about feelings. It ain't about feelings. We are on even playing field. Right now, it's an even playing field. We lost a game to them this year. They lost the game to us this year. Now we back at it again to see who gonna finish. And guess what? while I know it could go either way, the way we playing right now, if we continue this play, we're going to be national champions. So when it all boils down, what about Villanova? Who you got between Villanova and Kansas?
Like I said, if Villanova can impose their will and kind of dictate the style of play, if Villanova can dictate the style of play, Villanova can get out of that game with a win. I don't see them beating Kansas. I think the finals, if things go the way I see it, it'll be Kansas and Duke in the finals in New Orleans Monday night.
I can't say that that's a bad pick. So, I'm at peace with that. I picked Kansas to win over Villanova for sure.
Right.
And I picked UNC to win. So, I have a Kansas and UNC finals.
Kansas and UNC. That wouldn't be bad. That wouldn't be bad for TV. But everybody wants to see Coach K, man, go out like John Wooden. Yeah. I don't, because I'm not a Duke fan. I don't really care for Duke. I'm a Syracuse fan. So I don't care to see it. But I kind of see that the writing been on the wall.
I want to see Coach K go out like Shaheen Holloway.
Would have lost to Carolina.
Double digits. With a sad look on his face, saying we tried our best. What more can you ask for?
Well, it's coming to a close, man. College basketball is coming to a close, and with that coming to the close, that means that Major League Baseball is about to heat up.
Oh, yes. It's almost time for the hot spot. That's what I call it, the hot spot, playing in the hot sun. Sitting in the hot sun watching. I love baseball, though, and I look forward to it. In the meantime.
Remember I beat your ass on that baseball game?
Oh, my gosh. Here we go.
Was it PlayStation or Xbox?
It was on PlayStation. See? People beat you. They don't ever let you live it down. They don't ever want to play you no more. That's how that
beat his ass. It wasn't just a regular win. It was
my gosh.
Me coming out of retirement. It was like how Jay-Z say, grand opening, grand closing. I came out of retirement against one of the greatest, beat him, and went right back into retirement. You can't never get that away from me.
Oh, my gosh. That is exactly the story of the goddamn day. All right, coming up, we got the moment that most people look forward to, and that is the Guru's Picks of the Day.
Don't want to miss it.
BetMoorSports. We'll be back. This episode of BetMoorSports is brought to you again by The Collective. The Collective.
Shout out The Collective, man. We in here on this collective juice right now.
Yeah.
We're getting really into this fruit punch flavored THC infused drink, man. Shout out The Collective, man, for sponsoring this week's episode of BetMoorSports, the podcast.
Absolutely.
If you follow BetMoorSports, then you will know that we were 6-2 overall yesterday on our best bets. 3-1 in hockey and 3-1 also in the NBA. And our overall best bet was the Toronto Raptors, which won money. Today, our best bet is the Cleveland Cavaliers at the Atlanta Hawks game over 229. Take everything you can big, bar, and steal and put it on the Hawks game over 229.
And that was the BetMoorSports Picks of the Day coming from the Guru. We want to take the time and just say thank you for tuning in to the BetMoorSports podcast. We are going on every Thursday after 5 p.m. Make sure you visit www.betmoorsports.com. Also visit us on YouTube and Facebook and Twitter and every social media platform out there. Shout out to The Collective. If you haven't, when you get a chance, this is fire. Get it.
Get out you some. To The Collective, man. Got him.
And I'm going to fuck this up.
Feeling real good.
Don't tell nobody. But outside of that, hey, guys, just want to say thanks for watching. Have a good night. We'll see y'all next week.
Till next time.
Peace.